Yeah.
Alright, so we did our project on Black Lives Matter. So an overview of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the history of African Americans, the beginning of Black Lives Matter, what officers think about the matter, and then changes for the future.
Alright, history of African Americans. We felt like this would be a significant part to go over because, I mean, there wouldn't be a Black Lives Matter if there wasn't a history of African Americans, and it shows a lot of parallels from the past and the present, so we felt like we should add that.
So in 1619, that's when slavery started, and that's when the first slaves arrived in Virginia. In 1861 to 1865, the Civil War began in 1861, and then in 1863, Lincoln passed the Emancipation Proclamation. I don't know. Yeah. In 1865, the war ends and Lincoln is assassinated, and the KKK forms, and then the 13th Amendment is brought to life.
Alright, 1955 through 1968. 1955 was the Emmett Till murder, and that's really what sparked the Civil Rights Movement. It was when he was killed for winking at a white lady, and he was murdered pretty brutally, and the people who did it got away scot-free, and that's what really sparked the Civil Rights Movement. And then Rosa Parks, everyone knows who that is. She sat on the front of the bus when she didn't supposed to. And then after Rosa Parks, the Civil Rights Group was established by Martin Luther King and I think 3 other people. And then the Little Rock Nine was also that year, which was when 9 black students went to a white school, and that was important because they went through a lot of pretty much disrespect and they even got hit most of the time, and it was just, they pushed through it just to get closer to freedom. And then 1960 was the sit-in, is when the young kids sat on the counter of the diner, and this that really started the peaceful protests because they sat there without doing anything. They got hit, yelled at, and just completely disrespected, and they sat through it. And then 1963 was the 6th Baptist church bombing, and that was when 4 girls died that day because someone set a bomb on the church. And 1965 was the Selma incident, and everyone knows what that is. Oh, okay, we have the Black Lives Matter movement begins. We're at the beginning of that.
So what is the Black Lives Matter and what is its purpose? It is a peaceful protest organization, and it's international activists originating in the African American community. They campaign against violence and racism towards, yep, there it is, racism towards black people. Yeah.
Alright, the beginning of the Black Lives Matter movement was the Trayvon Martin killing, and he was fatally shot by George Zimmerman on a visit to the store to buy a drink and sweets, and then got into an altercation with him and was killed. And this really, this what sparked a lot of protests because he was acquitted of all charges and he got away with it. And then the worst part of it was that after the fact, he sold the gun that he killed him with for $250,000, which I felt like that was not good because it showed that like, well, it showed that like people paid for the gun that he killed somebody with because I don't know and then yeah.
And then Eric,
Can you stop? I have to change batteries.